So let me ask you a question. If I gave you two choices, which one would you pick? If I asked you to make a burger that tasted better and of much higher quality than McDonald's, would you take up this challenge? Or if I was to ask you to build a better business than McDonald's, would you take up that challenge? Now, I'm sure even a 5-year-old can make a better tasting burger than McDonald's, but people with PhDs, MBAs, and even veteran entrepreneurs wouldn't be able to build a better business than McDonald's. The thing is, the reason why most startup businesses fail is because the person who is starting up the business has to do everything by themselves. They are working in the business and not on the business. They have to do all the sales and marketing, product development, customer service, and even cleaning the office at the end of the day. So many startup entrepreneurs start businesses but end up getting tired and burned out, resulting in decreased performance of the business, which eventually leads to the business shutting down and being declared as a failure. Now guys, don't think that this is all theory I'm talking. My first personal business was an absolute failure, and my second business, well, that was an absolute disaster, which even resulted me into getting into a large amount of debt. I mean, who goes into business to get into debt? But that's a story for another day. And the reason because of that is because I didn't have one thing that McDonald's have. No, it's not the thousands of employees or hundreds of millions in marketing budget. Remember, McDonald's was once a startup at 1.2. It was because I didn't have what we call a system. So have you ever wondered why McDonald's are so successful? I mean, at one point they were selling more chicken than KFC, which I find so crazy. Now the reason for their success is because the original founding brothers, Richard and Maurice McDonald, developed what we call the Speedy system. A system that was trialed and tested many times until it essentially became bulletproof. The system they created was all to the T, from how long the fries should stay in the oil, calculated to the second, to the exact position of where the pickle should be on the burger bun. Each and every possible job and responsibility was noted down, and all the responsibilities were given to a specific member of staff. They didn't do the particular job themselves, they were working on the business, not in the business. So McDonald's have what we call a turnkey system. A system that was developed that can work anywhere. McDonald's can open a restaurant more or less anywhere in the world because of their turnkey system. You develop and create a system so the system works for you. You don't work for the business. Now Ray Kroc, the guy who turned McDonald's into what it is today, couldn't believe the bulletproof system the brothers had created. Ray Kroc took McDonald's from the little stand in San Bernardino, California to an $8 billion company at the time of his death. How he did that was he went out and got investment from outside investors, but he did not sell the investors on the business. He sold the investors on the system of the business. He admitted himself he never personally cooked a McDonald's burger, but there was a tried and tested system where he didn't have to do that. For every single part of the McDonald's corporation, he created a system, a turnkey system that allows the business to run like a machine. So to make this more understandable, imagine a watch. Now watches can be simple or very complex, but regardless of what type of watch it is, they all have one fundamental principle about them. They have a system inside that once it's turned on, runs on all by itself. The system that Ray Kroc saw in the kitchen allowed him to understand the concept of systems, and he applied the same principle when growing the business. He offered outside investors, franchisees, to invest in the business, but again, he did not sell them on the idea of the business. He sold them on the business system. So many entrepreneurs, myself included, talk about how their product is the best and how no one else is going to compete with it, and that's how they're going to succeed. But if that was the case, then why is it that McDonald's is the biggest restaurant in the world? McDonald's burgers are by far not the best in the world, but it is still the biggest restaurant in the world. Even after Ray Kroc's death 34 years later, his business is still growing and is worth over $100 billion. He developed and created a system, switched the on button, turned the key, and now it has been running for over 63 years. Yes, of course, it is not as simple as that. You're always going to face troubles and many problems in business, regardless if you have a system or not. There will be times where you have to make big changes to the business and to the system, and there will always be problems that you could have never foreseen. But having and thinking of your business in terms of systems will make your business a whole lot easier to manage, and more so to make more profit. With the system, once it is up and running, you as the CEO can concentrate on growing the business. You can work on the business, not in the business. When Ray Kroc sat down with potential franchisees, he didn't tell them about how their burgers were the best tasting burgers out there in the world, and because it would wipe out their competition, because in reality they weren't. What Ray Kroc sold them on was the idea of the system, of how the business system worked, and once up and running, all you have to do is sit back and watch the system work for you. And that's how McDonald's grew to the biggest restaurant chain in the world, because the investors saw how the system worked once up and running. Every investor likes the sound of investing into something and not having to do much in return, and this is what Ray Kroc offered to them. Now, everyone will say this to every investor, but Ray Kroc actually stayed true to his word and delivered that to his investors because of the systems he put in place in his business. Now, don't take offense to what I'm about to say. I mean absolutely no disrespect to anyone at all, but because of the system, this is why teenagers and people that don't have the highest IQ in the world can work in McDonald's and still keep this gigantic worldwide company that profits in the billions running. So the point is, if you want to have a successful business, start thinking your business as a system. The concept of systems is what has allowed startup companies to become billion-dollar companies. Every large successful company has their own system, from Microsoft to Apple to Ford to VW. Now guys, let me know what you think about business systems and try to come up with some examples of your own. Let me know in the comment section. Now guys, remember please, we're trying to hit 10k subs as soon as possible. So in order to do that, we're just absolutely just going to pump out content continuously. Your continued support allows us to create more content and a lot more frequently as well. So make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't.